just free ball it?
I don't know. I'm free balling right now.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay. Fucking fantastic.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is a highly requested video on reverse dieting. I just wanted to preface this by letting you know that yes, it is long, but it is filled with a ton of great information, so I hope that you guys can sit back, listen, and learn something new.
What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am still in the sunny state of California and I'm actually with Nick the Trainer.
Nick the Trainer
Go
here.
ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up guys? Nick Komodina here, also known as Nick the Trainer, also known as Dez's coach. So we both kind of talked about in our Instagram stories and Snapchats and stuff that we were going to do a discussion video at some point in time when Dez is visiting here, and the number one flow of questions that we got were regarding reverse dieting and basically all the elements pertaining to that. And we actually just had somebody DM me this morning when I was on my way over here with pretty much like 12 questions in a row, which is a pretty solid blueprint that we do want to follow for this. So basically everything that we're going to be talking about, I'm just going to be reading off this question because it does pretty much capture every element that we would cover
From
anyways.
beginning to the end.
From beginning
literally.
to end, yeah. So
cool. Yay.
So let's just dive into this. She says reverse dieting. First thing she says real quick is how do you keep desB so lean? Okay. Now there are 127 different factors that go into pretty much anybody's body, and everybody's different. So I just want to disclaim right now that what I tell you guys we're doing for her is not going to work for you, period.
Like no matter what.
Half of these are not going to have a black and white answer because every single person's body is different and reacts certain ways to certain things, right?
Yep.
So how do you keep desB so fit? So I think me and Dez first met in Ohio.
Yeah, literally just like
3 months ago. 3
ago.
or 4 months ago, and she had literally just started transitioning into her off season.
Yeah, I was like 2 months in. I mean, by myself. I didn't have a coach.
Tickling with a feather, the off-season bulk, right? And we talked and ended up deciding that I would coach her and help her and stuff like that. So basically how we've kept her so lean is the factor number one that's the most important is Dez is a freaking monster in the gym.
I would say so. I'm the Loch Ness Monster.
I would say that's 110% accurate. But that right there is going to be one of the most important variables when reverse dieting and being able to get yourself into a surplus and still maintain a level of leanness is your intensity in the weight room, and Dez has that times 10, probably more than almost any other girl that I've seen.
Yeah, probably.
Let's just talk about how awesome Dez is
for
a second. And then just pairing that with very, very small, steady increases every single week. Dez checks in with me every single week. Pictures, weight, how she's feeling, how her digestion's feeling, how weight room's going, pumps, all that type of stuff is taken into account.
I also add videos, which I think is something a lot of people don't do.
A lot of people don't do. She's actually my only client who does do that, and that's just something she likes to do for herself, and I totally appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that pictures can be so depicting with different shadows. Like, yeah, you can do it same time, same outfit, same everything, but essentially sometimes, especially because we don't see each other, you're in California, I'm in Ohio, I like to send videos because it gives you more of a visual input, side to side. You can see how my body's shifting, different kind of angles, everything.
Absolutely.
So just side point, you know, if you do have a coach, ask them if they want videos because truly, I think it makes a difference.
Me too. And just to touch base on that real quick, I'm very like, I have a lot of inconsistencies with clients like that, so I've had to like rewrite my guidelines when I first start with the client. Set your phone up. Full body, make sure your flash is on, avoid shadows, same outfit, same backdrop, same poses. Like, even if you guys are doing this by yourself, the more accurate you can take your pictures so that you can compare them, the more accurate your coach or you are going to be able to make adjustments. If your pictures are not the same every week, your coach is pretty much guessing, and that's what I'll tell my girls. Look, you're taking selfies in the mirror in a different pose every time. Like, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? Last week you were like this week you're like this. So it's like, oh wow, your midsection looks a lot leaner, but you also broke your back. So I'm gonna increase because you look leaner.
And I'm also gonna send you a brace.
Yeah. So basically she's killing it in the weight room. We are still doing cardio, I think 4 days a week, right? 10 minutes?
Yep, just
10 minutes. And
like literally lists.
Yeah, just on the treadmill, walking. And that's basically just to create. You're going to be in a deficit, or you're going to be in a surplus at some point in time, which she is right now. She's eating almost 2,400 calories, over 2,400 calories now. Loving every second of it.
Love it.
And even with that 10 minutes of cardio, she is still obviously expending calories, but it's basically just keeping her surplus a little bit lower, but she's still
eating.
She's still getting the anabolic benefits of eating that food and growing with the food and the thermodynamic effect of that food in her body, and then just cardiovascular health as well. But we're getting a little off topic, so it's just slow and steady increases. I don't think I've ever increased her calories by more than 100 to 120 a week. If that, sometimes it's 20 grams of carbs.
Which at first it sucks.
Yeah.
At first when we first started, I was like, holy shit, I'm so hungry. Like, why can I not have like blank, blank, blank amount of macros? But honestly, like the turtle always wins the race.
Absolutely.
And in this case,
Absolutely.
I am the fucking turtle.
Well, yeah, slow and steady is always going to win the race. That's actually a really good thing to talk on right now, is because like me right now, I'm in my first week of my reverse diet, and if you guys do follow me on Instagram, you guys just saw my rant about me like binge eating like an extra 1,000 calories yesterday. But I basically took everything else out of my meals for the day, did an extra run, and made up for it. But the thing is you've been on, this is coming off contest prep, obviously, or a cut. You're probably going to be the same amount of hungry before you reverse diet, and the first couple weeks into a reverse diet, in my opinion, suck worse than being on prep.
Oh, hands down.
Because you don't have a competition you're going for.
You don't have that extra motivation.
You don't have that motivation to say, oh, okay, I shouldn't eat this. You're just like, fuck it, I'm on off season, I'm gonna eat whatever I want. But the thing is those first couple of weeks are absolutely crucial, and your body is the most susceptible to store fat probably the first month after a show.
It's like a danger zone.
It is a very big danger. That's a very good explanation for it. So yeah, like she said, she's starving at first, but now she's happier than freaking I can even handle.
I'm happier than a clam.
But we've built her up that way. Again, slow and steady wins the race. So you're gonna be hungry maybe the first couple of weeks. You can flip that on its side when somebody first starts with me and have them eating, and they're under eating their whole life.
Yeah, and they're like, holy shit.
They're like, dude, I'm so stuffed. I feel so bloated. Most of my girls, when I increase them for the week, they're like, I was telling them, how are you feeling hunger-wise? They go, the first 2-3 days I felt super stuffed, and then all of a sudden that hunger, I just got over that hump and I've been starving. Perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear. That's your metabolism responding very well. So slow and steady increases, killing it in the gym, a little bit of cardio, water intake is important. That's going to be intuitive based off of you.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Okay.
How do you know towards the end of your reverse diet if adding fats or carbs or both is better, and how do you know when to stop adding? So when it comes to adding carbs and fats, you have one thing you have to understand about fats is they have the lowest thermodynamic effect in the body, right?
They also taste the best.
They also taste the best. But so I'm gonna just assume that everybody here knows absolutely nothing about macros, right? So protein and carbs are both 4 calories per gram, right? Fats are 9 calories per gram. The reason fats are so high in calories is because they burn the least in your body, so you get more calories from them. So pairing fats with meals are going to make those other macronutrients in that meal digest slower as well. That's why for most of my girls when they're on prep, I'm gonna prefer their pre-workout meal to have fats and carbs in there, so that those carbs are a sustained amount of energy for their whole workout. And then I usually say fats before bed as well.
Yes.
So I get that same effect when I sleep. So when it comes to, again, this is not gonna work for everybody. This is just what I do with my girls. You're gonna have to play with your body, because some people, I'll top them out at 60 grams of fat because their body simply can't do any more than that. Otherwise they feel super bloated. They're gaining fat like crazy, and their body responds more to a lot more protein and carbs. And then vice versa. Some of my clients are in over 100 grams of fat.
But lower carb, probably.
But lower carb, exactly. But that's just something to note when you're pairing fats with meals, is that they are slower digesting. So that's going to be completely based off of you. How do you know when to stop adding? Des, we kind of rehearsed these, so I'm going to have Des take this part over because she had a really good point about when to stop adding your calories and carbs and stuff. So go ahead, Des.
So how do you know when to stop reversing? This is kind of hard because essentially, first off, you don't want to stall progress. You don't want to ruin progress, and you also don't want to cut when maybe your body isn't ready. So essentially,
let me just tap in real quick. I think it's very important to be noted that all progress is going to be made in the off season.
100%.
All your progress is going to be progress is going to be built in the off season, eating in the surplus.
But shown in a deficit.
Proceed.
Thank you. So essentially what I told Nick at first when we were kind of rehearsing, talking about how we would answer these, I said that you should not reverse, or you shouldn't stop your reverse into a cut or stop it completely to maintain until you're at about 2,500 calories or, you know, plus. However, then he made the great point to say that obviously that's subjective person to person. So I'm a little taller, I'm about 5'7.5",
and she's a
5'8",
baller.
and yeah, call me LeBron James. And so for me, I'm at, we said, over 2,400 calories right now.
Yeah.
I can honestly probably get to 3,000 calories.
And I think that's going to be our goal. Is to push
goal.
Des slowly
to
3,000 before we even think about cutting or prepping for a show.
Yeah. And then in that case, will I be maybe a little bit uncomfortable body composition-wise?
More than likely.
More than likely, yes.
But you have to have your long-term success and the ultimate goal in mind when you're doing this. If I tell her getting her to 3,000 calories and being uncomfortable for 1 month is going to win her pro card,
I will do it.
think about it like that. You know what I mean? If that 1 month of uncomfortable is going to be enough to put enough muscle, that little extra touch on her to where she wins the overall, she goes and gets her pro card next year. In retrospect, that 1 month of being uncomfortable,
Count me in.
that 1 month is not going to be that much.
Yes. So essentially, caloric wise, it's going to change person to person. Someone that's a little bit shorter isn't going to be able to get up to 3,000 calories without gaining an excess amount of fat.
But they very well could.
They could.
They very well could.
And that's why it's all about tampering with your body, figuring out what's working for you.
We're being very broad in general here to try to give you guys some information.
Yes.
We just don't want to make you think that, okay, they said
2,500.
They said I'm short, I can get to 2,500 calories. And they're like, what the hell, I'm 40 pounds overweight. You know what I mean?
So for instance, or for example, that's obviously not going to work for person to person. However, we then did decide that what a really great point for someone is to get to 400 or 500 calories above your maintenance level. And in order to find your maintenance level, you can...
So
take it away.
I actually have a video explaining how to find your maintenance calories and how to make up your macros on my YouTube channel.
I'll put the link in the description.
It's pretty old, so you're gonna have to search for it, but it's there. And just a broad retrospect, I do go over it in extreme detail in the video, but basically what you guys need to do is you need to find your lean body mass, okay? And the way you do that is you need to go find your body fat first. Most body fat tests nowadays, real ones, the DEXA scan is my favorite.
Yes, that's probably the most reliable.
Because that also will tell you what your lean body mass is in it, so you don't have to do any extra math. If you don't have access to that and you're doing a caliper test,
which is skin pinching.
Skin pinching at your local gym. Don't ever use the handheld ones. Basically what that one does is it sends an electromagnetic pulse around, and if you've drinking water, if you've eaten food,
if you've worked out,
if you haven't peed yet, all of those factors in there are going to slow down that electromagnetic pulse, and it's going to read you higher. Because I've gone and fasted and it's giving me like 6.8% body fat. I'm like, I can't even see my abs. How are you going to tell me that I'm that? But anyways, so basically, you're going to, if you don't have access to a computer, which I don't know why you wouldn't if you're watching this video, but you're basically going to take your body fat percentage and subtract it from 100, right? So let's say you're 20% body fat. 100 minus 20 is 80. So you're going to take 80 and as a percentage, so 0.80 times your body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, that's going to average out to 160 pounds of lean body mass. There's your lean body mass. From there are 112 different sites of what you can multiply your lean body mass by in order to find your maintenance calories. One that I've used consistently for a lot of people is John Romaniello's. If you guys haven't heard him, he wrote a very famous book called Engineering the Alpha. It's a 3-month workout program. I actually did it about 3 years ago just to kind of, he's very smart with hormone optimizations and stuff, so I did learn a lot of my hormone work from this book. And there is that whole guide in there of how to do how to do the calories, and that's what I've been following. So basically, just really fast at the top of my head, the numbers go multiplying your lean body mass by 17, 16, 15, 14, and 13. If you are 6 to 8%, obviously it's higher. 9 to 10 is 16. Over 10 to 12 is 15, and then et cetera, et cetera. If you're very overweight, multiply it by the lowest number, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Very broad way to find your lean body mass and your calories for the day. So whatever those are, 400 to 500 calories over them before you start cutting back down, if your goal is strictly to reverse diet to be able to cut immediately again.
If not, keep climbing that damn ladder.
If your goal is to make as many improvements as you can, then again, keep pushing until where we said you're about that 1 month of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to prep for a show, we talked about this, I'm gonna completely have Des tapered off of cardio within her last month of her bulk so that her body basically desensitizes itself to that calorie expenditure. So when we do add it in, the effects are a little bit greater and we don't have to cut as many calories at first.
Great plan.
Do the adjustments get less frequent as the reverse goes on at that stopping point just to maintain those macros? So that's kind of a very weirdly worded question, but I think we get it. So typically, Des and I talked about this also, when it comes to adjusting macros, I'm usually making an adjustment every week. Every week. Whether that's, you know, I've adjusted as low as 2 grams of protein, 2 grams of fat to, you know, I think Des has had like one big girl increase her whole thing and it was like, you know, 40 grams of carbs and like 10 grams of fat. She was like, fuck yeah! You know, and her body responded phenomenally to that.
That was great.
But we had already been working together and I knew her body could take that. So I would say the longest I would go without making an adjustment is 2 to 3 weeks. And if no progress has been made body composition wise or lift wise, I think it's time to do a mini cut or a deload for a week or two of pulling calories back to get your metabolism and hunger cues firing again, and then slowly start adding calories again. So there's always going to be a way to make progress, but sometimes you do have to, the arrow analogy, sometimes you do have to pull back that arrow before you can let it go.
For sure.
Right.
And I think one great example of that within our journey together has been when I got an IUD. So if you guys saw my YouTube video a few weeks back, I talked about pulling back calories a little bit because I had gotten an intrauterine device, so basically a different form of birth control. I was on the pill and I got it switched, but that was just like a really big change to my body. And also the week before I was completely off birth control until I got it inserted. So it was just, my body was like, what the actual fuck's going on? Like I was very, very bloated, very distended. On top of finding out some food tolerances, I had like...
Intolerances.
Did I say intolerances?
You said tolerances.
Oh, sorry. Food intolerances. So I was eating foods that I wasn't digesting well, plus my IUD, plus this, plus that. We literally both had no clue what was going on.
Well, you have to understand when it comes to a coach, again, after that happened, in my inquiry form for clients to fill out, I do ask them what type of birth control they're on now, because that was a factor that I had no idea of. I did a little bit of research for her, and then we figured it out. So basically, birth control is estrogen. You know, you're gonna have a lot of estrogenic side effects. So she completely stopped having that in her body, and then reintroduced a whole new form. So her
at a higher dose.
At a higher dose, so her estrogen levels were off the freaking charts. There was no way we could monitor what was going on.
I was crying
how
like
it was
every
happening.
day.
She was crying. Yeah, literally. But basically, all we did, because there were so many factors going on right now, it would have been irresponsible of me as a coach and a person to continuously keep increasing her calories at that point in time until everything settled out. So I just you know, because if you're a coach and that's happening to a woman, she's gonna freak out.
Yeah, I'm like,
Girls don't like being bloated, feeling gross, feeling full, and she did. And I had to do the best I could to stay calm and basically just explain to her, you know, there is a lot of hormonal things going on right now. Why don't we pull back the calories? I think we pulled back maybe 40 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat. And that's not a lot, but it's enough to not feel like you're stuffing yourself when you're bloated already.
especially when you're, yes.
And I said, let's increase the water a little bit. And let's just see how it goes for the next 1 to 2 weeks. And within 2 weeks, she was pretty much back to normal. And I said, you know, how do you feel? And she was like, honestly, my bloat's almost gone. I'm getting hungry again. And I said, okay, that's perfect. You know, we got it. Let's taper the water back to where we were. Let's just get back to where we were before that all happened. And now look at her.
Woo!
So there's always going to be variables that happen in any part, a prep, a bulk, an off season that can freak you out. But the best thing to do is just to play it conservative, especially when reverse dieting. Like she said, the turtle always wins the race. Slow and steady always wins the race. I know it sucks ass at first because you're going to be hungry. But when you finally get to eating as much as Des is eating and staying,
so good.
like for how much she's eating, she's fucking shredded. I don't think people really understand that. But getting to that point wasn't easy.
No.
And
remind you, I stopped competing in November. So it's What is it now? June?
It's June.
Right, it's mid-June.
So
this
that's
has taken me...
December, January, February, March, April, May. Now we're in June.
7 balls deep.
7 balls deep. 7 balls. That's a lot of freaking balls.
7 balls.
That is 3.5 men worth of balls.
Yes. Big
so,
man. What?
I guess the overview real quick of a good reverse diet is starting slow, tapering down your cardio.
Yep.
You don't have to completely eliminate your cardio.
No.
Just using me as an example, right? My last week of prep was awful.
Oh yeah.
Because I deplete very aggressively the first 3 days of the week, and then I also backload very aggressively. That's just what works best for me in the past, and that's what I do. So, Monday through Wednesday I was about 1,800 calories, which is insane. She laughs at that, but for me that's like,
I know.
that's like death for me.
Yes.
And 30 minutes of cardio a day, and then I did 500 carbs Thursday, 65 or 650 on Friday, and felt great.
That's awesome.
So, but basically, I'm starting at 30 minutes. I'm coming off of 30 minutes a day of cardio. So this week I tapered down to 20 minutes of cardio, and my calories are sitting right about 2,600. But for my entire prep, I was getting about 2,300 the last month. So that's only a 300 calorie increase. And the only time I'll increase aggressively is the very first week, because you're so depleted.
Yeah, your body's like,
you're
yes.
gonna put on a little bit of fat because you're not gonna be stage lean, but your body's so depleted. Your goal as a responsible coach should be to get your client out of that much of a deficit as soon as possible.
Yes.
And then all that little extra fat gain you gain in the first week will even out by weeks 2.
Oh yeah,
so,
easily.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Des wins the race, what?
Des wins the race. I would always recommend getting a coach when wanting to do pretty much anything in this sport.
Yes.
Even if you know what you're doing. I have a coach. Des coaches people, has me as a coach. Oh, there you go, your carbs.
Fuck.
That's always my threat to Des when she's giving me attitude.
slashing your
Alright, I'm
carbs.
putting you on keto. So I'll always recommend a coach, just because even though like Des knows what she's doing 100%, I know what I'm doing 100%,
Yeah.
but having that outside view of somebody that you trust is important. And just so that somebody has a subjective, objective view of you.
Yes.
And that's going to be your #1 tool in success in this sport, no matter who you are.
I think that was pretty damn good.
I think it was great. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Use NKFit on Unico Nutrition to save 20%. All right, see you guys later. Bye.
If you kept up with this video, you truly are the MVP. Thank you so much for listening. Again, I hope that you learned something or your questions were answered. Feel free to head over to my website, www.desbfittraining.com, for programs and information on training. Until then, have a great week, and I hope to talk to you guys soon in a new vlog. See ya!